Welcome back. Today I'm going to do a video on doing the Happijac camper conversion. So I bought the new style. Can't buy the old style that hangs down. So I'm not sure these are going to fit on the front. I'll show you in a minute. The package comes with all the necessary hardware. It comes with a wireless controller, which is an upgrade from the old style, of course. Comes with the remote and the wire cable if needed. For motors, on the back here should be no problem. Lots of room, that's going to fit. That's not where the issue is, it's on the front, which I'll show you in a minute. I upgraded the jacks. I used to have the 4120, which are just barely rated enough to handle a camper this size. So I bought new 4220s, so they have focus. Others will work the same on either, but this is where I don't know if it's going to fit. It's so close. So these are the jacks for the dualies that swing out. So the motor has to go on top. So it's so close. Anyway, that's the challenge when they swing in. Is it gonna clear the top of the camper? So my camper is a 2008 Bigfoot. Let's see if it fits. Okay, here, take the top off. That's what it looks like inside. So take this off and then gotta undo these screws to take this center piece out. Okay, pretty straightforward. Take the screws off, one on each side, and this cap comes off, and it has a plastic coupler in there, which you need to replace with a metal one, and it gives you new bolts. Okay, a little tip here. I got the one installed. I used just some car grease for the washer, because you got to put the washer up first, the spring, and then the chrome nut or adapter, whatever you want to call it. So put a little bit of grease on that washer, and it holds it up there without dropping down. So that's a little trick. And then also I had to adjust it a little bit to get the two cogs to line up. And the moment of truth here, see if this thing is going to fit. And with one hand, slide it in, and it just fits. Hey, how well you can see that? So I got about 1 inch clearance. So I was worried that it wasn't going to fit the new style motors, but it fits, and even have a little bit of clearance. The swing out dually bracket, and there. So it looks there. So I think we're good to go. Here's just a little bit of car grease I used on that washer. Nothing special. Anything that's a little sticky. And this is the parts that come from the what I take out. This is the plastic one. They want you to make sure to replace with the steel. Must be the torque. This will strip out if it's under too much load. And that's about it on this part of the install. The other thing, you can still adjust your jacks even though the motors are on. You just put the lever down and it disengages the motor, so then you can lower it. So I just got a hand socket here. And, so you're not stuck if your system screws up for whatever reason. You can still work your jacks. There we go. And then when you're done, you just flip it up, and then it'll re-engage the motor. Okay, took that cover off for where it wires in. hasn't been off since it was new. Anyway, it looks like it's gonna just make it. It's not gonna have a whole lot of slack when it's out, but that's okay. But it should, I'll have to mess around with that to get it to come in kind of like that so it tucks in there. But it's nice that this was already roughed in. It's just plug and play. So far, mounting the motors is being easy. Controller shouldn't be too bad. Should be just put power to it being wireless. And I think that should be all we need to do. Here's what I'm talking about. Comes in the package. The bolts, the spring and the metal coupler, I guess you call it, and the washer. So I just take a little bit of grease, just dab it on the washer, stick it on there, just tap it down with the screwdriver so it sticks, and then it doesn't fall out. So if you can't take the jack off and lie it down, that's a way to be able to do that little trick for you. Tips and tricks. And that goes on like that. And then we mount the motor, put the screws in. The screws are holes, you can turn it whichever way you want because the threads are on all four sides. Okay, of course, you know, everything's, of course, I always run into some sort of challenge. Looks simple. I thought this would be the easy side, but so this screw obviously is really easy to get at, but this one is going to be a challenge. So fortunately I got this little kind of funky screwdriver ratchet. Don't even know where I got it. So it looks like it's gonna do the job for me. But I don't even know where you'd get something like this. I've had it forever. Oh, it's Craftsman. Canadian Tire Special. Okay, so that's gonna work for me. And then the other one's a nut, so I can just put a wrench on it. Okay, ran into another issue. You can see here, the motor can't sit down completely because it's hitting the bracket. So I'm going to have to file that down so the motor can sit flush. You can see it with the shadow. It just sits up on the other side. Maybe you can see it. It's not sitting flat. So I didn't want to have to do that because it's going to rust and whatever. So I have to file it, paint it, and then yeah, hopefully that's good. Okay, hopefully you can see that. I didn't have to file too much off. And it looks like it's aluminum, it's not steel. So I'll just paint it so it kind of looks the same. But so that's it. Didn't have to file a whole lot down. Grab the motor, and hopefully you can see the glare that the motor now just clears. So it's, yeah, comes down all the way anyway. It's almost tight, but it works. So might have to do that with yours too if you're going to do this conversion. Okay guys, we got it all mounted. Put it in the storage compartment where the battery is. Comes with a wired cable that you can plug in here, and the remote. It's a wireless remote, and you can just plug in this side here if for whatever reason the Wi-Fi is not working. So that's a good little backup. Tested everything, works fine. Everything was coiled up here, or the wires were coiled up here in this compartment, and they just had tape identifying, you know, left front, left rear, that sort of thing. And they had a white and a red in the same bundle, which I would think is the power, but I can't get power out of these wires. I don't know where they go. So if anyone knows if there's a fuse or something where I gotta connect it somewhere, I appreciate the comment. For what I did for power, I just ran positive, negative to the battery, and I just had some alligator clips to test it. And taking power directly off the battery, it works fine. So it was easy setup. Instructions weren't really that great, but it's pretty self-explanatory. So that's the controller inside. I connected this, which was roughed in, so I could plug the jack in here if I wanted to. And just go check the outside. So got these wired in, I covered them up. I'm gonna put a little connector on here to hold the wires. But the motors, they look good, they fit. With a little bit of filing down here, so that the backs were more trouble than the front. I thought the front was where I was going to have the trouble, but they all fit good. They just clear. The wiring, same thing. I started putting a clip. I'll just put one clip on it to just kind of secure the wire a little bit. But they just clear, so you can retrofit on this model of camper anyway, the Happijac new motors, get rid of those old ones which are not available anymore. So it's a standard bracket, it looks like, that goes to the unit. So I think it'd be pretty standard for everybody. Anyway, that is the jack install. Again, if anyone knows anything about the wiring for in that same bundle for the what was roughed in for the Happijacs. So I got my little helpers here with this job. They were a big help. Here's Benson. He's a little they like just hanging out and watch me work. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe if you do.